And gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis, and I am going to be going live today here. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. I haven't been going live, a lot, but I figured I would do these live, crypto updates for you guys because it does help pretty much give a lot of individuals guidance, insights on what is happening, and pretty much, I would say when we're talking about the market currently, where everybody's kind of panicky, a lot of people are kind of just throwing their overall narratives out there. And trust me, it's pretty much what I'm doing as well, realistically speaking, in terms of my narrative. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a viewpoint on what I expected going into pretty much December and pretty much what is playing out now. So let's actually jump in and let's talk about that. So I posted this in the Discord a few weeks ago. I mean, this is pretty much around when we had that initial drop in December. It was December 4th. We had that nice little crash, and I pretty much told everybody, I wouldn't panic here. We are probably going to go lower. So first off, I have to say, shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you guys coming in here. I see like 71 people in here. It's crazy, but welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. I do appreciate you all showing up. But overall, let's just jump in and let's be serious here for a moment because, I feel like a lot of my content isn't too serious, but I feel like this needs to be addressed. So with everybody being a little bit bearish, with everybody, having their own viewpoints, I know, there's a lot of other individuals that are higher up on the food chain than me in terms of technical analysis. I don't claim to be, a top tier professional. I'm not looking at the charts 24/7 or anything like that. But this is what I've seen, pretty much moving into December. So when we're talking about this, I will have, another chart that is pretty much in real time updated. But this is essentially what I expected going into 2022 and pretty much what I expect to happen during this bull run. Now, when we're talking about what we are currently seeing on Bitcoin, you can pretty much see that this bars graph that I laid out, and this, just so you guys know, this goes all the way back to pretty much the beginning of December. And I'm not saying that I called anything. I'm not saying that, I know this market 24/7, whatever. I'm just saying this has played out near perfectly. In fact, if we're zooming in a little bit here, we could pretty much see the wicks, and this is on the weekly, just so you guys know. Also, shout out to Bruno for the $5. Thoughts on Depot and Jigstack? I'm still bullish on Jigstack. I just think that they need to, stay true to their overall updates. But overall, when we're talking about currently what's on this chart, what happened, I was expecting us to actually have some stronger wicks. I expected us to actually come down a little bit lower, but overall, we are pretty much playing perfectly into this. Now, what will pretty much be the deciding factor on if we do continue on this trail is pretty much that jump out in February. This is pretty much February 7th, the week of February 7th. I'm just saying, we will need to range on here. In fact, this is pretty much where alts get really hurt because I believe that at this time, when we do have this nice little move to the sideways trading viewpoints into this nice impulse up, Bitcoin dominance is pretty much going to play something like this, where we kind of range sideways. Bitcoin dominance increases while Bitcoin is pretty much dropping. And this is pretty much where alts are going to start to drop more and actually pretty much see max pain on a lot of alts, especially on January 30th. You actually see this going up to about 44%. These bars graphs are just this nice, pretty much relayed pattern, pretty much just relayed over here. I know it's not going to be an exact fractal hit. I know it's not going to play out exactly like this. I'm just saying this would be actually very bullish to play out for us. This will cause max pain and max bleed on a lot of altcoins. This will also allow for a lot of the fear to really pick up and a lot of people to be shaken out, especially considering the fact that if we do repeat the same pattern, which of course we will hit the rejection point up here, the resistance point of about 47%. Once we hit that, once we pretty much fall from here, once we reject off of 47%, we will come down and retest pretty much what we just did recently, going all the way down to about January 4th. The significant thing about this is that if we do climb this high, like I said, alts will take max pain hits, but it will also allow for Bitcoin to actually have this nice breakout event in February. And the best part about this is that if we're looking at Bitcoin dominance, and if this plays out, our altcoins are going to start really running around this point in February when we have Bitcoin dominance dropping. Okay? When we're talking about everything happening in the market currently, there is nothing to be worried about until we lose our fundamental support zones. We have not lost those yet. Things still look pretty good on the macro-based levels. Of course, on the micro levels, when you're looking at the micro time zones, yes, we are probably going to get another test of these lows. But before we get those tests of those lows, we will most likely have a little bit of an impulse to the upside where people pretty much turn bullish. They're going to say, all right, we're going to 50K. And then all of a sudden, that next major swoop of the lows to liquidate a lot of individuals will happen yet again. Before, guess what ends up happening after that? The next major impulse to the upside. Now, with all of that in mind, like I said, I've always said since the beginning of this alt season, pretty much going even as far back as when I started my YouTube channel as well, what we really want to see is Bitcoin dominance crashing while Bitcoin itself is going up. And you do see, and I'm not saying that this is going to play out perfectly, I'm just saying this is pretty much what I expect to happen. If we get this rejection here, on February 13th, the week, or this is actually the date. So let's actually go to the weekly and actually really kind of look at this real quick, because if this does play out, we would be watching the weekly chart. And sorry for that. Here we go. Let's zoom out and really kind of address this on the weekly zone. So if we get this overall rejection here on the week of February 7th, and we start to really drop on that week in terms of Bitcoin dominance, we could actually see that during that entire time, Bitcoin will continue to go on this nice move all the way up to 65K. While this happens, of course, alts are going to go crazy. Because when we're talking about that impulsive move into March, while Bitcoin dominance is dropping, alts are going to have a show. It's almost going to be a showstopper for a lot of individuals who are in alts. And this is where you really want to take the market serious, because this is where you capitalize on, first off, taking profits. Do not get too greedy and understand what is going to happen during this entire time. So when we're talking about this will be a clear rejection, pretty much at a nice point as well. If we actually look at this is that resistance point. Again, this is those bars, the bars graphs pretty much just relayed over here from the September lows, pretty much what I think that we are pretty much testing as well, which pretty much happened exactly. But when we're talking about this, we would have that nice rejection. We'd come down, retest, this 382 point, which is that 53.7K support zone, which, I told you guys once we broke that, it was pretty much downside, central. But once we pretty much break that or retest it, essentially, we go on one last ride to the all-time high. And I believe that this is going to be the top for Bitcoin, 81.6K. Yes, I am not waiting on 100K. Yes, I am not waiting for any of these moonboy, pretty much targets on Bitcoin to be targeted. I believe that this is the top. And this actually will top around May 23rd to be exact. Pretty much almost the exact, pretty much, I would say, and I just said pretty much so many times, I do apologize. But it will pretty much be around this point in time when Bitcoin really dropped. And I think that we are pretty much in store for that to spark the major bear market. I believe that this is where we will see that. If we continue, and if we continue to 100K here, yeah, that would be very bullish. But I'm not expecting that. But around this point as well, we will see Bitcoin dominance around this point. And this is only April. We have a chart that pretty much tells us all the way to May here if we do play by the rules of this bars graph. During this time, I do think that since this is April, we'll continue the bearish swing down. And we'll probably go all as far down as like 20%. If we do follow the rules of 2017 and 2018, which we could pretty much do that if you guys want. So let me actually go back in time and let's actually draw that bars graph just to show you guys what we would be looking at. So let me just keep that here just for a pretty much placeholder. And let's go back to 2017 and 2018. So if we have that sharp rejection off of the Bitcoin dominance area, so this is pretty much what we would be looking at if we have a nice strong rejection off of this candle up here. So I gotta relay this a little bit. I know it's not going to go down as far as 11, but I do believe that we could see something like this, where we do see this pretty much bleeding all the way into July, maybe even the beginning of June. Somewhere in this point here is where we will most likely see about 25% or so. I've always said when we're talking about, this entire market, everyone will have their own viewpoints. But this is a perfect zone, in my mind, to watch this entire point to the summertime. Everybody's calling for a bear market. Everybody thinks that Bitcoin's top is in. Everybody thinks that alts are not going to run this year. Everybody's very fearful. In my mind, I don't believe that there's anything to be fearful about. I said that this chart was something to really kind of keep in the back of your mind. I believe that it could play out almost perfectly to this, and it will bring us to the, all-time high for Bitcoin, away from everybody's moonboy pretty much topping points. I think that this is a perfect way to look at it. I don't think that we should be hoping for 100K on Bitcoin. I think that in terms of Bitcoin's buying power, I don't think that retail individuals want to buy Bitcoin. I don't think that retail individuals even care about Bitcoin currently. The only individuals who care about Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price targets to 100K plus should be individuals that are overstretched in terms of their investments, aka Michael Saylor and individuals like that. We should be focused on altcoins. And the reason for that is when we look back in time on the weekly, this is pretty much what we could expect when let me actually go to the Bitstamp chart so that we have more price data and it's more accurate. But this is pretty much what we could expect when Bitcoin dominance is dropping and Bitcoin is pumping. It's similar to the 2017-2018 overall bull market. If we go back in time, so whoops, I did not mean to do that. So let's go back in time a little bit. Now this is still on the weekly zone. Let's go back to November. So here's 2017-2018. And if we're looking back in time on also Bitcoin dominance, you could pretty much see when Bitcoin dominance started to really fall, it was pretty much December 11th, the week of December 11th. Look at the week of December 11th here as well. We had a nice impulse up and it hit our all-time high before we started to really reject. Also, while the time during this entire time where Bitcoin was pretty much dropping, alt still went crazy. In fact, XRP still continued its upward path until the week of January 1st, topping out on January 6th. It's pretty much the same thing that is happening now. Now, like I said, I'm not going to say that things are going to play out perfectly to this bars graph. I'm just saying in terms of an accurate depiction on what's happening in this market, I do believe that we could play this pretty much perfectly in terms of a pattern. I know there's other individuals like Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, blockchain backer. There's also other individuals in this market like tech dev and stuff like that that do know technical analysis better than me. I'm going to admit that fully. But I just believe that when we're talking about Bitcoin, when we're talking about crypto adoption in general, I think that Bitcoin still has a little bit of one last major run left in it. And I do think that we'll see that from around February to pretty much the May time zone. Similar to what we've seen back in 2021. It was pretty much that whole move to this point here, where we had a little bit of a high made in April. I think that that high will pretty much be similar to this May high here. And in my mind, when we're talking about everything that's been going on with crypto, from the inception of pretty much institutional investors moving into this market, from Michael Saylor, from Elon Musk, to all of them, I just don't think that there's enough buying power to push Bitcoin to 100K plus. I'm still dead set on my targets being around that 75 to 85K point to be the topping point for Bitcoin, and we do not need to go to 100K for alts to really fly. I just want to reiterate that because in terms of the market standards going back to 2017 and 2018, just know that the high for Bitcoin was 20K, and look at what ended up happening for XRP. We still had that incredible price move from December 4th all the way to January 6th, which was almost a 1,500% run. We do not need Bitcoin to go to 100K. And just for anybody out there who thinks that, Bitcoin's in a bear market, I've been seeing that a lot lately. Just zoom out and look at where we are currently compared to our structure, even going as far back as just September. We were at these prices back in September. If we lose the point that we're at currently, say for so, my bars graph doesn't play out. Say for so we lose 40.8K, which is the 702 retracement, which I've always said keep a close eye out on. I will flip bearish once we lose 37.5K. I believe that this is the last line of defense for bears. I know other people have, different structures and different targets. I know some people say, 42K is the last line of defense for bulls. In my mind, I'm not going to get bearish until we lose this structure here, the 786, because this is the perfect retest of the August lows where we had that strong bounce, which led us to the high back in September of about 52.8K, followed by that nice, correction down to this 702. I know that we wicked a little bit below it, but you could follow by the next candle in terms of the weekly on September 27th. You could pretty much see a perfect retest of the 702, which was followed by an impulsive move to the all-time high that we just recently seen. Again, if we do follow this same structure, which it almost looks like we are following that identically, if you do look at the bars graph here. Now, again, I don't like to put all my trust in the bars graph. I'm just saying, when things make sense and when things are following the structure, I do put a little bit of my trust in the bars graph. And if we do follow that structure, prepare yourselves for a massive alt season event. I think it's going to get very interesting very fast in 2022. Yeah, we have to play a little bit caution. We have to be, a little bit more patient. But I'm just saying, currently, there's no real reason to panic. Is this dip done? Absolutely not. We will range on, and you'll probably get better buying opportunities on a lot of altcoins once we do range through this, and once Bitcoin dominance continues on this nice little impulse to the top. Like I said, really watch Bitcoin dominance, because if Bitcoin dominance is pretty much going to have this nice little run to about 47%, and you see where the topping point for that is. It's pretty much February 13th. But during this entire time that Bitcoin is going to go to, the sideways trading, even going to January 31st, the week of, if we're talking about that, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance being around, 45%, which will drag alts severely down. And I already know the question that I'm going to get asked in the comments right now. Hey, where do you see XRP going? Well, if we do, have that nice 45% impulse on Bitcoin dominance, we can come down as far as pretty much testing the lows going back to November 29th, pretty much the week of, which is about 60 cents almost exact. Or we could even test the summer lows, which was like around 52 cents, somewhere around that area down here. So yeah, we will take major hits on a lot of our altcoins, but following the structure, if we have that nice impulse on Bitcoin dominance, pretty much all the way down to like the 39 area and even further, like 25%, that will lead us to a massive bull run for a lot of our altcoins once Bitcoin continues that nice impulse to even March and even to the summertime of May. So with all of that in mind, pay attention to the structure, pay attention to Bitcoin dominance closely, especially as we do range on. For those who are asking about HBAR, HBAR still has remained, in its structure form. Still looks pretty good. Overall, the support zones have been holding strong around the 27 centile range, and we're pretty much in this chop zone. Again, like I said, if Bitcoin dominance does that nice move to the upside of about 45%, while Bitcoin's ranging on in that chop zone as well, we will see HBAR take that hit yet again, probably down to around 20 to 22 cents. That's what I'm going to be looking at. The overall outlook on this market, everybody is, like I said, bearish. There is nothing yet to be bearish about. I know a lot of people are scared. I know a lot of people are worried. This is finance at the end of the day. I get it. People are probably over invested. People probably have a lot of money invested. I myself have a lot of money invested too. But I'm not using that to have my basis behind this be bullish. That's not my, base point about this. In fact, I'm micro bearish, macro bullish, as you guys do see the long-term, growth here if this does play out. A lot of altcoins are similar, though, in a sense on, XRP and even HBAR. They are still holding their structures, even XLM, right? Because I see some questions coming in here. We do see XLM. We see, even HBAR being mentioned here. XLM is probably one of the many that have been holding up in terms of this nice drop, but it's not, too convincing. There's not a lot of strength on this. The same goes for a lot of altcoins. Altcoins are only as strong as their Bitcoin pairs. So you really need to address their Bitcoin pairs, but you also have to watch Bitcoin dominance, because the higher dominance is, the lower your altcoins go. So just pay attention to Bitcoin dominance, pay attention to the Bitcoin pairs for these assets as well. Do not just focus on their USD pairs. Same for QNT. I just seen QNT being mentioned in the comments. So let's actually go to Coinbase. So here we go. Here we all have it in terms of the daily chart. So let's actually look at this. So similar to my last few videos on QNT, I've said watch for this point here to be retested going as far back as August. This is that demand zone going back to August. We did have that strong test on December 4th on the impulse on Bitcoin. We also seen this being tested a little bit more and more. Overall, I would not be surprised by a wick down to about 150. If we do lose that, watch for some deeper buys, specifically the $100 area. But I'm still waiting for our impulsive move above about $206. That will pretty much tell us if we are going to see a breakout event or not. I'm still watching for those prices to be met on QNT. But like I said, we are waiting for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the clear, impulsive decision on a lot of alts right now. I believe that we will get better buys, and I believe that we will range on a lot more. So pay attention to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like the only thing to really kind of watch right now. I'm not even worried about altcoins specifically, because there's really no reason to buy altcoins right now. If we are going to get that impulsive drop by the end of this month. So don't get too bullish. I'm not going to be too bullish right now until we have that impulsive move. Where would that impulsive move pretty much take us? Back into my demand zone on Bitcoin. This is where you want to get bullish. This is pretty much the point where you really want to watch for. Now, I'm just saying right now, do not buy alt when we get up to this point. Buy alts if we get that nice triple overall test of this zone down here, which is pretty much the overall liquidation zone for a lot of individuals. A lot of people will get liquidated around this point, but it's also where we will see a lot of volume flowing into Bitcoin as well to really kind of push us back up to about 65K. So with that in mind, pay attention to us retesting this zone, but also having that nice little impulse and a rejection off of almost the 49K zone. I think that would be almost a perfect rejection as well. And pretty much just pay attention to what is going to be happening as we do march into February, because I do believe that February is going to be the change of heart for a lot of altcoins. And I see a question coming in. Is this cycle different? Honestly, if you were here during 2017 and 2018, you'd say, yeah, this is extremely different, because we are essentially in an extended bull run. If we're not in an extended bull run, I hate to break it to anybody who is a little bit concerned on the market, but we are in a bear market if we're not in an extended bull run. I'm just going to be dead set on that. But I do have my targets up here. These are my tops for Bitcoin. It's around that 76.9K to about 82K zone. That's where I do think that Bitcoin tops out. That's where I think that Bitcoin pretty much goes by the end of this bull run. And overall, when we're talking about this entire market, this entire, last year and even this year for crypto, I think that it's going to be great. I think that in terms of the crypto community, it's growing, it's prospering. We are still very early into crypto, so even if you guys got in a little bit late, maybe you don't profit as much off of your altcoin buys, trust me, there's going to be another bull run. And in the bear market is where you actually make all your money. You buy alts at a 90% discount and you just ride them. So with all of that in mind, I hope that kind of clarifies a few things. I hope that kind of, overall give you guys the insight on what you pretty much wanted to, hear. Maybe you didn't want to hear it. Maybe you wanted to. I don't know. But hopefully that kind of gives you all a little bit of an insight on what I think is going to happen in the macro viewpoints and even on the micro viewpoints. Because I know a lot of people were wondering, dude, you flip bearish and bullish like all the time. But overall, I'm micro bearish and I'm macro bullish. There's no real difference to it. That's pretty much what I am. I could flip, any way I want if I see it happening. So with that in mind, with everything in mind, I'm going to read some of the chat. I'm going to catch up on the chat because I haven't talked to you guys a lot lately, and I just want to talk to you guys. So, hello, Viet. We see Metal Chew here, Brooks Marsh, Canali, Christian, Earth Walker, Mark, Dan, Rick, Mark, R Showers, what's going on? Harry, Angie, I hope that I said that right. Victor, Dan, Lana, Check One Entertainment. We also see other individuals in here as well. I'm sorry if I missed your guys' messages, but let's check what's going on. Way to show up in times of uncertainty. No worries, man. Please leave in recording. Don't worry, I will. And in terms of pretty much that, let me see. So I've seen people saying there won't be a bear market anymore because of mass adoption. What are your thoughts on that? I still think that we have a bear market. Honestly, in terms of, are we going to just continue to pump and pump and pump? No, that's not going to happen. We will still see a bear market. Although we are in an extended bull market, if that is the case, I still think that we still see that bear market happen. So yeah, love your updates. I appreciate it. Bull run till 2025. No, I'm not seeing it, honestly. How do you put XDC/XPC in, or XPS, sorry, in cold storage? You could check it out. I think that you could put it in, I want to say Ledger. I haven't done too much research on the cold storage, but I definitely will be moving mine to cold storage. I want to say thanks for all the content, all the research you do. Thanks, brother. No problem. I do appreciate it as well. I appreciate the support. Thoughts on blockchain backer? Believing the top is in for Bitcoin. Like I said, it's to each their own. I know that blockchain backer is pretty much right on with a lot of things. The top could be in. Realistically speaking, if we are talking about us having the top in for Bitcoin, this impulse from January to March could pretty much be the bear market start. This could be the last major impulse move on Bitcoin, followed by a deep dip to the bear market, which if 69K is the top point for Bitcoin, first off, it will be comical to say the least. But the next major dip on Bitcoin to pretty much the bottom, which this is exactly what I'm talking about in terms of, legends are made in the bear market. If Bitcoin comes down about 80%, we'd come down to about $13,700, possibly even, further down. Like if we have that 90% drop, it's about like $6,000. And if we're talking more so about Bitcoin the next bull run, we'd be looking at about $100,000 at least from $6,000. So that's pretty much what you'd be looking at. So yeah. Do you expect the XRP to bring up the whole market after a positive SEC case outcome? It depends on XRP dominance. I know during the 2017 and 2018 bull run, we did have a dominance level of about 30%, so it is possible. Great analysis. Thank you, Nick. No problem. When Bitcoin goes to 65K, where about will it correct? I mean, it's pretty much on the chart. If we do go to, 65K, if this is the topping point, like if 69K is the top, this will probably be the last impulse to the top on Bitcoin, followed by that bear market. But if we do only go to 65K, maybe our all-time high isn't in, we'd most likely have an impulse down to about 53.7K, aka that demand zone, which I've been talking about for a while now. So I hope that kind of answers that question. Got mine on Ledger the best. Nice, Susan. I haven't been able to find it. Bitcoin will never go that low. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're talking about 69K being the top, Bitcoin will go that low, but I don't suspect that, 69K is the topping point. Thanks for all you do, Nick. You're a rock star. Much appreciated, Tyler. XLM, just did an update on XLM. It's still holding the structure fairly good, but I do believe that we could go down a little bit deeper. Quant to $100 bottom. It could be the bottom. Like I said, it depends on Bitcoin. We have to watch Bitcoin more so than alts right now, because Bitcoin's the showstopper currently. Blockchain backer seems to be right so far. Yeah, I mean, he does. Nobody's right or wrong. We could pretty much only forecast what we essentially see or what we could pretty much predict. So, this market, it could change in an instant, right? Things could look like it's playing out perfectly, and then all of a sudden we have a massive liquidation event or something. It could just go absolutely crazy in an instant. So yeah, I mean, do you think AOBT won't have a run up until next bull run? No, I mean, I think that a lot of altcoins are going to go parabolic if we do have this last major impulse. Can you please do an update video on JigStack this month? I will see what I could do. I mean, not much has changed, realistically speaking. They haven't really launched too much. So, I'm not, there's not a lot to talk about. Thanks for everything, Nick. You are the only influencer my wife and I trust. I appreciate it. That means a lot, man. Cosmos, could a settlement in the XRP lawsuit change this? Like I said, with XRP dominance currently, not really. I don't think so. Thanks, Nick. Top job as always. Much appreciated, Mark. Crypto is much different than 2017. Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, XRP, EOS. But the only good things in crypto then. Way more now since I think 40K and it pumps. Yeah, it definitely is. Thoughts on Aquarius for Stellar? Haven't looked into it, to be honest with you guys. What about Casper? Any idea, Nick? So yeah, I mean, sure, we could look at Casper real quick. 1 second, here we go. So Casper, oh, sorry, there we go. Casper still holding strong on the 702. I've been watching this very closely. It's honestly one of the strongest alts right now. I have been watching Casper for a very long time. And when we're talking about Casper's long-term growth here, if we do have those nice impulses on Bitcoin, watch for some high targets to be met. I believe that Casper wants to run. I thought Casper wanted to run here before we had that impulse on Bitcoin, and we have not dipped that low. Honestly, we're still in the demand zone and the buy zones going all the way back to October. So this has not lost any structure at all. Of course, thanks to its pump to 24 cents, it most likely, kind of helped us to hold this structure and remain still, fairly bullish. So I think that this is fairly good, honestly. How insulated is crypto from inflation? I mean, listen, crypto is deflationary. So it's a good hedge against inflation if you can get into things that have staking opportunities that are higher than inflation rates. But the problem with crypto is that we still move very close with the stock market. So if we're talking about the stock market, if the stock market looks like it's about to crash, if the stock market does crash, crypto will also crash with it. Do you hold any VET? No, I do not. Thanks, no problem. KDA, VLX, and Phantom will be huge this year. Yeah, most likely. I'm just not buying them because I do believe that they are a little bit too high. Don't know too much about VLX though. You're a legend helping us through this fog, this cycle, no problem. What's your take on AAR private chain? I actually have not looked into it, to be honest with you. XRP, HBAR, XLM, ALGO, yep. What about the stock market? Just actually answered that, to be honest with you. Thoughts on XTZ? Have not looked into it. VET, Matic, good too. Matic is good. Been holding it for a very long time. Your thoughts on VET? I will have to look into it and do more research on it. I really don't know too much about it. XDC, yep, XDC is looking good as well. It's been holding strong. What about stablecoins against inflation? In terms of that, when we're talking about stablecoins against inflation, they still peg to the dollar. So, they still are pretty rough. So yeah. We're all waiting for this blow off top that everybody, yeah, I mean, so am I. I'm right there with you, and I do believe that we will see that blow off top, and then we will make a ton of money in the bear market by reinvesting our profits. If you do take them, that's why profit taking is important. Alliance Block, you're amazing, Nick. I know people shouldn't risk their money because of anyone, but I've seen, comment section, and I've seen a lot of people follow your advice religiously, including me. We trust you. I appreciate that. What's your take on DAG compared to HBAR? DAG is good. I don't like to compare these networks to one another like HBAR to DAG because they are all focused on completely different use cases and they all have things that make them, special. So, yeah. Mass adoption coming. We are still very early. Boom this decade. Yeah, I think that on the macro viewpoints, yeah, I mean, it's crazy how early we actually are. Thoughts on LCX? I'm very bullish on LCX. Have been holding it since I want to say around 4 cents. Possible chance of 10-cent Casper. I would say, we are still in the chop zone, so it's not, that bad, honestly. We could still definitely go down to 10 cents. You're the only one who actually reads the chart. You can't just ghost copy bars pattern. The whales ain't stupid. Well, you can't, but when they do play out, you can pretty much kind of put a little bit of trust behind them. I've always said that, you can't just copy bars graphs, but it is fairly reasonable to copy them and look at them if things are playing out almost perfectly to the last pretty much correction. Thoughts on HTR having coming this weekend? Have not looked into it. Thanks for the info. You're the best, Nick. Let's hope for another shot in the market. Yep, I do appreciate that. Cosmos a quant for long term. Honestly, I'm more so of a Q&T person myself. Personal price predictions for LCX by 2025. Honestly, the sky's the limit. What they are doing with tokenizing, securities and stuff, I think that they are going to definitely be doing really good in the future. Thoughts on Ethereum 2.0 not coming for another 6 years? That's why I'm investing in Casper. Casper is essentially Ethereum 2.0 and Ethereum 3.0. What's your take on Ren? I'm still very bullish on Ren. I think that it could offer, a lot of, ROI, but I think that, currently there's other choices that are better than it. So, it's kind of the idea on, looking into other things at the current moment, maybe profit on those and reinvest into Ren before it does make its move. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. Do you think holding 50% Bitcoin is too high? Honestly, I'm out of Bitcoin. I fully sold back in like April. So that's pretty much what I did. One thing everyone agrees on is how early we are. Yep, definitely. Ethereum 2.0 is coming out in 6 months. Honestly, it'll probably get delayed again. To be honest, I'm not putting my hope in that basket. Do you hold more Casper than XDC? Yes, I do. Can we look at XDC? Much appreciated, bro. XLM price predictions 2021 or 2022. Honestly, with XLM, I'm more so looking at about like $2 to $5 around that range. With XLM, we came down, retested almost a perfect support zone. If we're talking about around the 8-cent zone, this is pretty much those demand zones, but also the support going all the way back to like November 19th and November 21st and 22nd around this point. It's also the resistance points going as far back as July. Currently, we have a nice little impulse, and we are looking to grasp some more support around this range here. I would not be, surprised by another test of this support if it does get broken. Watch for us to retest lower around 8 cents. But the 9-cent zone has been holding fairly strong, which is also, I mind you, the support zone going as far back as August before the nice impulse to the upside. So this has also held up fairly strong with the Bitcoin drop. So yeah. Let's see. HBAR versus Casper versus XLM. Choose one. Only just one, please. I honestly can't. HBAR does have a lot more going on with it, but there's better ROI than HBAR, to be honest. What's your thoughts on Osmosis? Honestly, I have not looked into it. Let's see. XLM equals $3 possible this cycle. Yeah, I do still believe that it is. Thoughts on VXV? Dude, honestly, I've been in VXV since like around 80 some cents. It's, still a very bullish asset. I think long term it does have a lot of growth in it. Hello future. Hey, what's going on, man? Got more XRP, HBAR, and XDC today. I assume I bought too soon. Most likely, we could see a lot lower on a lot of these assets. Like I said, if Bitcoin does range on while Bitcoin dominance does increase. But with all of that in mind, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream here. It's been great. It's been fun. I will probably do more live streams in the future. This has been like a 40-minute live stream. I do appreciate all of you pretty much jumping in here, watching the content, supporting. You guys are literally incredible. I'm very thankful for all of you. Without you guys, this channel would be pretty much useless. So I do this all for you guys. I try to keep you all up, to date, in the loop. And I try to keep things as real as possible because I'm not going to come on here and spew nonsense. I'm not going to tell you guys that, Bitcoin's going to 200K, 100K, or anything like that. There's no way. In my mind, I just don't think the retail individuals care about Bitcoin right now. They're more so focused on NFTs, metaverse, and stuff like that. So with all of that in mind, my topping point is around that 75 to 82K zone. On Bitcoin. If we do get there, it's going to be quite a journey. Of course, anything could happen in an instant. This is crypto. It's a very volatile market. You really have to have the stomach and the patience for it, and you got to keep your emotions in check. So with all of that in mind, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. With all of that in mind, if you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to check out the socials down in the description below and all that stuff. With all of that, thank you all for coming, and with all of that in mind, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are. in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.